Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Creative Talk. And we have with us today a very special guest. I am amazed with this woman, a very, very talented, awesome human being. She is a brand strategist, a designer, and my research tells me she is also good in graphic artist, also a businesswoman. She has a lot going on. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm very humble, very kind. Her aura, her vibe is such full of positivity. All right, let's all welcome our very own special guest for this episode here in the Creative Talk, Miss Laquela Quay Peggy.
Hi.
That was
Thank you.
I remember to pronounce your name correctly.
Girl, you did it right.
Oh, welcome to the show. Welcome to the
Thanks
show.
for having me. Thanks for having me.
Right. So I am very excited. Like before we start the recording, I was talking to Quay here, guys, and I am just amazed. She has a lot of things going on. You know what? My first question before we start this wonderful conversation is that do you still have social life, Quay?
I do. I still find time to be social. Actually, it's just really, really a lot of basically managing my time. It has been one of the difficult parts in the beginning, but I'm starting to understand. I still have to make time for me, so that's important.
Wow. And I will dig into those tips as we move forward. Because, guys, for all our listeners and our viewers, Quay manage a lot of, she has multiple businesses, making design. And that's not an easy thing to do.
Mm-mm.
So we will find out how she became a great Wonder Woman she is now. Who influenced her and or what influenced her. Okay, Quay, can you um tell us the story, your journey, because that's the Creative Talk all about. Your journey, your story. Who influenced you? What influenced you to be who you are right now?
Well, my story is very interesting and kind of I'll try to make it as short as possible. But I am initially at following college, I worked in the government for a little bit, working in IT security. So I have a background there. And I got into a point where I wanted to really get into project management because I am a project manager, but in IT. So that was kind of my way of kind of navigating out of that realm. But I just always had a passion for being able to I like helping people, but being able to do things where I can kind of see the end result. Like I love doing those type of projects or that type of work. But I've always been into tech. Growing up was just interesting. When I was in high school is when I noticed that I got really into I think that was when they had like MySpace and things like that started coming out. And I just would get on
You
my computer
mentioned
later.
MySpace, Quay. You mentioned
Yeah,
MySpace. That was memories. And I'm a
yeah,
MySpace user back then.
that was so long ago. And I'm like, oh, hopefully I'm not, well, I'm not that old, but like most of the younger kids now don't really know about MySpace.
Hey,
But
interestingly, MySpace is still working up to this
really,
day. Yeah,
I
but
never,
they're not.
I didn't look
MySpace
at
is
it.
not a social network as before. Like when we're using it, it's I think
Mhm.
I may be mistaken, but it's a platform for musicians, independent music artists. But it's still working. It's still MySpace.
I
So
have to check that out because I haven't
yeah.
looked at it in like years. But that's where I realized I had this like interest in design. But that's where I kind of played around a lot. So and that's kind of what led me when I went to college to go more in the IT world. But I was like really I had no clue on how to design a website. No clue on coding, and that was probably what 2000 probably was like in 2001 2002 in that time frame, and I was probably like 13 14 years old, but I would just Google like if I seen a certain effect or if I seen a certain feature on someone's page, I'm like, I want that on my page. And I would research and figure out how to add that to my page and how to design. And eventually I had it figured out. It would be interesting if I could still find one of my old pages that I designed.
Yeah, that would be cool, right?
That would be a interesting thing, but that's where I learned really how to navigate like HTML code, or just any type of design. So when I was in college, I really didn't go into design, but it was more so, again, my bachelor's is in management information systems, and my master's in information systems management. So I really wanted to stay in the realm of just managing IT. But once I got out of school, like I said, I went and worked in the government for a while. And then I was in a situation where they had kind of in the US, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with it, but we go through government shutdowns and things like that in the government world. And I was in a temporary job at the time. So I got caught in one of the sequestrations where they rifted positions. So in that time frame, it was kind of like I'm out of work, just trying to figure things out. And I was out of work probably for about a good 6 or 7 months. And then I started doing just some contract work. Then me and my husband relocated to Florida a year later. And I got to Florida and realized, okay, I'm not working. It was hard for me to find a job. So what I did was I always had this aspiration of starting a cosmetic line. And I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. I saved up money and I'm like, okay, I have a couple of dollars. I want to invest it in my business, my beauty business. And that was the whole thing, beauty. That was my goal. Start a successful cosmetic line. And I did start the line. I managed to find a job. It was a year contract where I was working. So I'm like, okay, I'll be able to fund this business and still keep up. But when I designed everything, I designed my website, I designed my marketing, I did everything on my own, no help at all, research. And again, that was a year contract. That contract ended, I'm out of work again. And I'm like, okay, I don't have money to get my product. It's just hard, but I don't want to shut my website down. I want people to still know Venom. I don't want them to not know what Venom is. So I just would market and promote different things like seasonal, maybe colors, but I didn't have product. And I met someone here, my hairstylist, actually, when I met her, she's a big hairstylist here in Orlando. Her name is Kendall. And she's awesome. Like, she's phenomenal. Everything that she had going on, she just would see some of the things that I was doing. And she's like, well, who designed your website? I'm like, I did. Who did this? And then I'm like, I did. So it was just me and her would have conversations all the time about just different things that I would do. And she's such an inspiration to me because she would always say, well, you should be doing this. Like, that should be something you do. And I'm like, nah, that's really not my thing, because me, I'm on the whole career thing. I want to still project management, and I still want to have my cosmetic line. So it went from that, her seeing me do something, and I did something for her. She's like, well, I need some help with something in my business. Could you do it for me? Wow. I said, okay. I designed some stuff for her, and then she referred me to some people. And I'm like, well, I'm really not a graphic designer. Like, that's really not my thing. Like, I'm really trying to stay in the lane of beauty. Yeah. And all of a sudden I noticed a year went by, and I'm like, I'm finding ways I kept making excuses. One, because a lot of things that I was trying to do in my beauty business, a lot of people didn't know I was out of work. So that was kind of something I was kind of like trying to keep on the wraps. Yeah. But I would constantly get told, like, you don't have no product, you don't have this, you don't have that, like, just questions. And I'm like, well, I keep making excuses. And I was at this conference and I heard this lady say, you know, we make excuses about things, but there are ways to still grow your business and not spend money. So I thought that was interesting, because I'm like, okay, what can I do where I'm not having to pay for things, but I'm able to offer a service and I can get paid for that service, and I can use that money to help grow my business. So I started, you know, whenever I would get a job to do something for someone, I would save that money. I went and got a license to do eyelashes. So I'm like, okay, well, I can do lashes and make money. Wow. And then I can do freelance makeup work and get money. So I would do these little odd jobs just to get
Mm-hmm,
money.
mm-hmm.
But then it still kept leading me to the design. I'm like, here I go. People keep asking me to design for them, and
Right.
that's really not my thing. So it was just crazy. I had this one day where you get these, I don't know where I subscribe to these affirmation texts.
Oh yeah,
And one
yeah,
day
yeah.
I got one that says, and I'm not sure if you're spiritual, but I got one that said, God wants to use all of you, not some of you. And that was in
Oof.
2018. I remember the day. And I'm like, okay, I keep getting tasked by people to do graphics. So you know what? I'm gonna take a leap of faith and I'm gonna start doing this as my business.
Wow.
Um,
Do you believe in
and
God though?
I do.
Yes, yes,
I do.
okay.
And I'm big on that because it's like, even though that wasn't something that I saw myself doing, it's like I ended up, everything was forcing me to design
Woo.
and branding. And I'm like, that's interesting. And I lied to you not, I started this in 2017.
Right.
And I would do like sales, run specials, different things like that just to get myself out there. And then in 2018 is when I got, like I said, I got that text and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take this more serious. I'm going to pursue this. I still work full time, but I just really took my business more seriously, started really marketing it in a way as, this is my creative agency.
Right,
And
right.
it just went from there. And I lie to you not, I've been more busy than I have ever been since that day. And I really, like, I prayed, I said, God, I'm going to take you, I'm going to take you on this. And if this is the way that I need to go, I'm going to stick to it. And I have not seen a slow moment yet. Like, I've been full speed ever since. And I'm just thankful that it did go the direction that I wanted to go. And I just never could have imagined me being in this, doing this type of work, like as something that I enjoy. So a way for me to now kind of leverage all of what I do is I decided to pretty much launch kind of put myself in an agency position where I'm able to provide services for project management
Mm-hmm.
and creative design, branding, and marketing.
Wow.
That's kind of where I am now. So I have QUAILA P Enterprise, and under that, I will provide services for project management, process improvement, and operations, and IT. And then I will have also my branding and marketing with the graphics. So I'm
Wow.
excited.
That is like powerhouse. And
Yeah.
I love the part where you said that there's a driving force that really brings you into that path, even though you don't want to and you have other things. You still
Mm-hmm.
end up being in that same spot. It's either being people influencing you, or it's just your surroundings. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is your calling. You are created to be not in that position, but it's constantly moving. But you
Mm-hmm.
are created for a purpose, and that purpose is connected to the skills, the talent, the gifts, we may say, that was a part of your creation, right?
Mm-hmm. Like no matter what I did, I'm like, well, that really wasn't what I was, looking to do. But I'm excited about it because the thing that I feel connects me is like I love helping people. I'm very creative, and a lot of times you find yourself. What I run into with a lot of my clients is they have the idea, but then they don't know how to take the idea to the next level
Ooh,
or the direction for the idea. And I think that's where my creative part comes into play because I don't like doing things that look like someone else's. I
right.
like I like for things to be very unique and different, and I like the challenge. I do, and a lot of times I'm always whenever I get clients, some people that come from another designer, and not to discredit any designer's work,
Yeah, yeah.
it's like they couldn't bring my vision together, and some things that people come up with are out of this world, yes, but it's amazing the things that we think of, but just being able to like at least put it together and give them a sense of what it could look like, and then actually being able to produce that, I find joy in that. I enjoy it.
I love that. I love that. I think that's that's a gift that,
Mhm.
not everyone can. You mentioned that, there's a lot of designers out there, but creating something is very difficult. But, aside from that, creating something that would fit the persona of the brand, that's a
Mhm.
totally different story, right?
Right.
We can create a logo or a symbol or something, an illustration, an artwork,
Mhm.
a design, if you may. But connecting it to the brand, making it a brand, connecting it to it's either a personal brand or a corporate brand, a product, a service, that's a different story, because
Right.
it should intertwine. And I love,
Right.
like what you said, that you are in that stage now. My question is, Quay, how does branding work? Because you're a very you're playing in the A game in your field. You're handling clients, you're building up brands, starting consulting and handling business and creative at the same time. So take me to that journey. How does branding works in your perspective?
Mhm. Well, it's important to make sure that a lot of people understand kind of what it is to be branded. Because you
Yes,
have people
yes,
that's like, I have my business, but having a business and a brand is two totally different things. And if
exactly.
you
Yeah.
have a business, you want that business to have a voice and
Mm,
speak out.
mm.
And a lot of people think it's just getting a logo. And I'm like, it goes way beyond that. Like
Yes.
it's more to it.
In most of the people, when they say, "Oh, I need a branding," or "I need a brand," what they meant was a logo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. All right. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is just like helping them navigate that path. So like what I've learned to do now is like even before attacking the logo is just going through branding and under making sure they understand that, like, what's your brand story? What's your brand messaging? Like, what is it that you want your brand to evoke to
Ooh,
people?
love
It's
that.
it's not just, and even in terms of color, a lot of people don't understand how important color is,
Yes.
elements. And a lot of people I get, when they come work with me, you have clients that are, well, I like pink and purple and I like green.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. Quay. This is
yeah,
a realistic situation. And I'm sure you've encountered this. What if a client comes in with their, they're not stubborn, but they have this color in mind. It's like, Quay, I want this color. I want this in my brand. And you check the color, and it's like what? Very
no,
opposite,
it's
in
all
contrast of her brand. so
very
so
off.
what do you do? What do you do with that? I mean, you can't argue. You can't argue. I mean, we can't always, but by the end
You
of the day, they will say, "No, it stays."
Mhm. And that's one thing. And I've seen designers do that. I've seen designers that try to force something on a client. And that is not my way of doing things. What I like to do is just really educate them and have a conversation. But at the end of the day, I make sure I let them know that what I'm providing to you is a recommendation as an expert. But I do
Nice.
want you to be happy with your decision. And I always go through the colors because a lot of them don't even understand the colors. So I will send them like different charts because you'll find multiple brand color charts that have reds mean two totally different things, or
Right.
greens
Right.
mean
Right.
totally different things. But there are
They have
pretty much,
like a mixture of the color psychology, and
yeah.
it just sometimes it mix they mix it so much, and it becomes so complicated, and instead of
Mhm.
like giving the clients a clear perspective of what it is to be, it goes
Right.
the other way around.
It does, and I feel like it's still some of the like the basic fundamental ones that, like, green may mean money or wealth or speak to that, evoke that type of or even clean environmental, like, those things still kind of go with green. But all I do is just have that conversation and say, hey, look, your brand. And I mean, I did a two classes early in the year, right when we were in COVID. but I did branding your nonprofit and branding your business. And it's two different worlds, really, because if you're in the nonprofit world, there's certain things that you want to make sure your brand represents in different elements and colors. And it's just really making sure that they understand, hey, well, you want your design and your brand to come across as professional, and you want people to take it serious. So certain things that you want to make sure you leave out. And if you're looking to capitalize on it, if it's not a nonprofit and you want to make money, or if you are a nonprofit and you want to receive donations, you have to appear as if you have a reputable brand. So that's what I do. I go through that, navigate the color schemes, and a lot of people are open once I start to show them that I'm knowledgeable of that. They trust me more, because if they don't trust you, it's hard for them to really want to agree with you. And if there's certain colors that they just can't live without, then we try to work it in, just so that they can get what they want ultimately. But again, I make sure they know what I'm providing is a recommendation based on my experience and based on my expertise. But I've never had a client that really kind of like shied away from that. It was like, oh, I don't want any of that advice. I want to stick with this purple, pink, and green. Like,
Right,
I never
right.
had that. So that's been a plus for me. So that way I know that they trust my
Mm.
opinion, which is a good thing.
Right. I mean, I totally agree with you. If you hand it over with, with first with respect, and then you explain it with, they will feel it, that it's not that you're saying they're wrong and they don't know a thing about the brand. It's just that we in our field of expertise, um is very connected, and we care for them, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
with that said, we are now suggesting, like what you've said, these are recommendations. We are showing them options, and
Mm-hmm.
giving them a big picture, showing them the perspective of what might work or not. But by the end of the day, it's always, it's their brand. It's their brand, and you're willing to help. We're willing to help, whatever it takes. And with that, clients feel that, and once that they feel that, they trust you, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's not gonna be, there's no tension. There's no tension. I mean, these are the things that I think startup or beginners in this field needs to learn and practice. You don't just go to clients and say, no, this is not right. I'm in this position. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to follow. It doesn't work that way, right? You need
Mm-hmm.
to really establish a relationship, show that you care, show that they can trust you, and then, just show your recommendations, and that you're there, whichever they choose. If they want to stick to what they want, or they will grasp the options that you're presenting.
Right. And that's all it is. It's just, like I said, building trust, establishing trust, building relationship. That's important to me. I don't take on any client that I feel like after I work with you today that we're not going to work together anymore. So that's kind of why I'm very big on building relationship, because it's things that and I see when I'm working with them that I think they could add on to their business later on, and grow. I'm all for that, and I also present that to them, while we're working together. If they do take me on for the branding piece, it's just, now how can you scale your business and grow it outside of where you are, if they're in a position and they're ready for that. But that's important to me, just to make sure I'm establishing a trust and a relationship, and being able to provide them great customer service. And you still run into issues sometimes here and there, but very rare if you approach and handle situations a certain way. So that's important for me, just to making sure, like I said, just establishing those relationships.
Right, right, right. What are the basic tips that you can share for our listeners and our viewers about, how the branding works, how to establish a brand?
Mm-hmm. Well, for any listener that's an entrepreneur and you're starting up, it's just making sure you really know the reason why you're starting your business, and as a designer and a person that is looking to help you kind of bring it to life, it's very important that you come kind of prepared. It's the difference if you want to start a business and you're really not sure and you need that coaching and helping, that you want to make sure it's clear up front that, hey, I have an idea for a business. I'm not sure what way I want to go with it. I'm
Right.
not sure where to start with the design,
Mm-hmm.
website. I don't know. Because it's easier now for me to know, okay, and I do provide an onboarding process. So in that onboarding process,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to find out all of that information just from them completing the form. If you've ever worked with a designer, if you haven't worked with a designer, is this your first time starting a business? If you are, unsure, it's all in there for them to lay out to me. So that's where I love doing that. Just so if you're a designer and you're new, you want to make sure you have a onboarding process so that you
Right.
can identify up
Mm-hmm.
front those things. And then following that, I do consultations after I receive that. But if you are, again, a new entrepreneur, you just want to make sure you identify exactly what it is that you are looking for. And if you don't know, you make that very known up front, because then that way it's easier for the designer to help you. And if that designer is not a branding person or someone that can help you coach you through that, then that may not be the designer to work with, because some designers, they just design. They don't
Yeah.
have the time, or they
Right.
don't really have the compassion to really sit down and
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
passion to really work on helping you identify your business, brand it, grow it. Like that may not be their thing. So that's good to know up front. So in terms of a designer, if you are able to identify that with your client, then it's much easier for you to navigate that path. So, in terms of identifying your colors and concepts, do some research. I always tell people, do market research before you
Oof.
even
Yeah.
establish your business, because
Right.
you want to know where you stand in the market.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the logo and the design, where do you see your brand?
Oof.
Where do you see your business? Because if you see yourself being sold in, or if you have a product and you see it being sold in high-end retail stores, then going into this, you have to think about it and think about those other high-end brands that are sold in that store. What does their brand look like?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to look like a cheesy, cartoonish, a fun brand, and you want to be sold in a high-end
Right.
retail
Right.
store.
You
Because
should
now,
know how you see yourself, right?
right, because it's brand positioning. You have to
Yeah.
position
Yeah. Brand
yourself in the
positioning.
market. You have to be able to position yourself and be able to say, okay, these are my competitors. How do I look up aside these competitors? And that's big. And even when I haven't gotten to this place yet, but hopefully I am getting close. But if
Right.
you get to a point where one of your brands happens to make it to market and they are sold and picked up in a store, like how does that retailer look at your product? Because if you are positioned where it looks the part and it looks like it can be in our stores, then it's much easier for one of those sellers to look at that product and bring it home versus it not being really ready for market. So I always try to, anyone that I work with, I try to position their products, and I ask those questions for a reason so that I can make sure that whatever we start with can put them to market and they don't have to go through a whole
Right.
rebranding, re-strategizing
Mm-hmm.
what my labels should look like,
Right.
what the
Right.
logo looks like. I try to position them for going straight to market.
Yeah. The long term. That's important,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it saves a lot of time and it's hassle free
Honey.
in the long term. Yeah, and the money. Yeah. And money. Yeah. Yeah. Correct. Correct. I totally agree. What is the greatest challenge you encountered in your business in the context of branding for a client? Because you've been handling a lot of business
Mm-hmm.
centric, design centric. So can you share us the greatest challenge so far that you encountered?
Well, I can say all of my challenges have forced me to pivot in my business and do things different. But I would say one of the biggest challenges that I've dealt with is working on a client project and dealing with the client, really their uncertainty again in what they really want, and realizing that I wasted a lot of time in I'm really starting to do like a whole bunch of websites because I do design websites. And today is what I call Website Wednesdays. So on Website Wednesdays, I provide feedback, give
Right.
people a review of their websites, and just like help them either make sure that it's functional, it's working for them, things of that nature. And my biggest uh I think that that one particular time I took on a client and it was unclear what they want. They wanted to transition platforms, and I spent so much time moving all of their because they had an e-commerce, so the store, so all the inventory
Right,
to the
right.
new site, setting it up completely, and then they say, "Oh, honestly, I'm not even going to use any of that
But
inventory that's moved." And I'm like, this has taken me the longest. I've never took so long to build a site. And this person, they didn't really know, and now they have new inventory that they want me to add.
right,
So
right.
that was very much of a headache. So that made me force me to now establish clear guidelines for onboarding a website client. You have to provide me with your content. You have to make sure that these are the things that you're going to be using. Your images
Mm-hmm.
are it's certain requirements for
Right.
images.
Yeah.
So it just really forced me to like now, even establishing my terms and agreement for things that are delayed
Yeah,
because
that's very important.
you run into things. Unfortunately, in July, we're dealing with COVID, and I
Yeah.
somehow contracted COVID,
Really?
and yeah, I was sick for about a week and it slowed down, like business stopped.
Yeah,
And
okay.
I had to make sure like that now forces me to implement other systems. So it all of the challenges that I have encountered has forced me now to like make sure I have certain criteria in my terms and agreement, making sure people know like if you missed your deadlines, how that delays your project, or
Exactly.
if
Yeah.
I am at fault at any, like when I was sick, that
Mm,
happened. I did
mm,
send out information, but aside from me sending out the information, I did delay people in
right.
their project. So just things that I can provide them as good customer service. Hey, what can I do to help fix my problem that I
Right.
caused from being sick? So it's just been a lot of challenges that's really forced me to amp up things and enhance services and enhance my contracts, just a lot. So those challenges I feel like are needed, because when you go through these things, it forces you to become better in your business.
Exactly. Those are points that would really, solidify and strengthen your business, the
Mm-hmm.
process, and everything, time management, for you also to improve. Those are the
Mm-hmm.
things that you
Yeah,
really
because I'm
need
not
to.
perfect.
Mm,
I'm not perfect.
yeah, it happens to everyone, and that's also a good indicator that your business is growing. Your business
Mm-hmm.
is growing. Your skills are you are acquiring new skills. You are growing as well mentally and and spiritually. You are acquiring a lot of learning. So with that, you also need to go beyond and learn, study. Okay, this is a new thing. How can we manage it properly? So that's a signal that you're being blessed, and
Mm-hmm.
you are also being a blessing to people around you.
Exactly. I agree.
But you need to rest. You
Oh,
need to
now
take
that's
a
what I
lot of
get in
rest.
trouble.
You
I
need
get in trouble for that a lot.
come on now that is non-negotiable. You need to
Mm-hmm.
rest because if you break down, then everything will collapse. People, clients, partners, your team depends on you. If you
Mm-hmm.
will be out of the picture, then that wouldn't be as powerful as the team wouldn't work as solid
Right.
as it is. So you need to
Right.
take rest, learn how to delegate tasks. So the problem with creators like us, we think we can manage it all, but there's up to a certain extent only, right? We need to
Yes.
trust our team. We need to build a powerful team. trust them, empower them, and work together
Yeah.
as a team. You cannot be successful if you're a lone wolf.
Yeah, and that's and you're touching on all the things that I'm actually doing now, because I realize now that my business has grown. So now it's time for me to scale it and add on. So I am in the process of hiring a new designer and an assistant, just to help. Even with the emails, I get tons of emails every
Exactly.
day. It's
Yeah.
like I need to make sure that I'm able to leverage and then take on what I can take on and not take on so much, because I experienced that and I don't want to burn out,
Right.
So
Right.
in my, just because I'm just starting, I don't want to burn out right away. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on now, is just really getting a team, because I can't be a one woman show forever. And it's not going to allow me to really be an effective creator. Like, it's one thing
Right.
to be a
Right.
creator, but I want to be effective. I want to know that what I'm doing is helping my clients be successful and not just me. I want to be able to see them achieve certain levels in their business as well. So
Right.
that's where I am, and making sure, like I
Yeah.
keep getting my own time, making sure I'm doing some self care and
Yes.
mentally being in a good place. Only because I feel like you can't be as creative when you're not in a good place mentally. So
Exactly. Exactly.
that's what my focus is now.
Right. Wow. That was a powerful story, very inspiring story, and a lot of learnings and tips that really are helpful if you're a business owner or if you're in the creative side. Wow. Thank you, Quay. Thank you, Quay. Now,
Thank you.
we are in the part that we will play a game. Okay. So we started off with inspirational backstories, learning after learning, tips. And now this is the part that we will be kids and play a game.
I'm ready.
So we call this part of the podcast, of this episode, the creative fast talk. Okay. So what's gonna
Okay.
happen is I'm gonna ask you questions, random questions that doesn't have any connection to your expertise, to our topic, to whatsoever. All right, these
Okay.
are random, silly questions. So random that I only saw it right now. All right, so that's how natural it is. My team just sent me those messages maybe halfway of our conversation. Although I
Okay.
can I can choose which one will go first, but everything is new. So that's going to be fun. All right. Don't spend too much time thinking what to answer. First word
Okay.
comes into your mind, shoot. All right.
Okay.
Okay. First question. Dun, 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 dun. If you're an animal, what animal would you be and why?
I would be an elephant.
Okay.
Because they are very unique. And I think they are strong. They represent, but they're gentle too, I think. Very gentle
Mm-hmm.
beings. But
Mm-hmm.
I think an elephant would be what I would choose.
Right, right, right. Okay. Next, Instagram or YouTube?
Instagram.
Okay. Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to TikTok yet. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, I think that's there's a lot. I've my colleagues that are in branding and business, they're utilizing TikTok now.
Mhm.
And then I think one of the I think it's the second episode. We featured one of the biggest advertiser that is jumping and utilizing in TikTok, and it's doing a good job. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see it's I've seen some people that's used it for business and they have done a phenomenal job.
Right.
I need
Right.
to jump in. I haven't even sat down. I downloaded the app and that was it.
Don't worry, we're in the same boat. I created my profile. It's just there, just waiting for the golden moment. All right, next. Dun, dun, dun. Spring or fall?
I like the fall.
Okay.
I like the
Oceans
colors.
or mountains?
I have to do mountains.
Wow. Are you into hiking?
No, but I like nature. I do. I enjoy
Ooh,
nature.
okay, okay. Cats or dogs?
Have to go with the dog.
Text or calls?
Uh, I'll go call.
Yeah, me too. What was your dream job? Your ultimate dream job?
Ultimate dream job was I would still say it's project management, but I really wanted to do it in the cybersecurity space. So that's
Ooh,
still like the ultimate dream job.
ooh. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Don't laugh. But I would say it's so funny because it's an old movie, but I like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, come on. I love that also. I love that. Yeah, it's very
Mhm.
nice. Okay. Yeah. um, are you a reader?
Somewhat.
Okay. Favorite book?
Hmm. I read Secrets. I'm not sure if you ever seen it. That was a good book for me.
Okay. What are you afraid of?
Spiders.
Why?
I hate spiders. I won't even kill it if I see it. That's
Really?
how I'm afraid it's gonna jump.
What happened? Why are you afraid of spiders? What happened?
Because I recently was bitten by one, but
Ooh.
I'm afraid of them because they're like the smallest but most deadliest creatures you can find. It's like you get bit by one, and if it's poisonous, that could be the end of your life.
Oh
So I'm
yeah,
very
yeah,
afraid.
yeah.
But
I
my
agree.
experience in being bitten, I'm not sure what I was bit by, but I do know that it was a spider.
Okay.
Mhm.
Next question. Europe travel or Asia travel?
That's a tricky one. I
Yeah.
would say Europe, but
Mhm.
I'm in between. I like Asia for the that would be more on the food. I think I would want to just try for food. Europe is more on the fashion, and
Yeah, yeah.
you can get both. But I know
Well,
Europe.
you mentioned food. There's a question here about food. What is the weirdest thing you ever try eating?
Well, if you ask anybody that knows me, they can't. They say I eat the weirdest things. I eat the craziest things.
Okay.
But I would say the weirdest thing that I've tried to eat was I mean everyone eats oysters and I eat pretty much everything. Um, but I would say they were raw oysters, and I never really got into it. And I'm like
Oof.
still trying to figure it out, but I can't. That's one thing I can't get into.
Hmm.
But the weirdest thing I probably ate would say a squirrel.
Oh, come on. So cute.
Yeah, I'm a country girl. I grew up in the country, and
Right.
my great grandfather had killed one and cooked it, and I tasted it. Wasn't bad.
Yeah. Well, was it a stew or a roast one?
I think he kind of like he stewed it a little bit because it
Mm,
was like he baked it and it was. I
right.
mean,
Mm,
it didn't look like it, but it was good. And I would say from what I remember because I was very young, but it wasn't bad.
right. Okay. Last question. If you have a power to bring back someone back from the dead, who would it be and why?
This is a good one. So I have my godmom. She
Oof.
was 100 when she died, but she would have been 101 because she died like right before a month before her birthday.
Mm,
And I say her because she went to the hospital for the first time when she was 93. She was known for all these remedies.
mm-hmm,
Everything you could imagine you had if you're sick, she had a
mm-hmm.
cure for it. And
Wow.
if I could bring her back, I would bring her back because I'm trying not to get emotional. But
Uh,
she like I would want to document all of those remedies and all of those cures because I lie to you not, the things that I would see her help people with
right.
or the things that I would get colds or
Yeah.
you get scars, anything, and you try what she tells you and it works. And I'm like,
Wow.
someone like her to be 93, and the doctors were so impressed when she first went to the hospital for being sick.
Right.
They could not believe it. And I feel like she would still be living today. She ended up finding out she had cancer in her bladder at 100.
Okay.
But she was very alert. We everything. She went and traveled more than me. You probably.
Wow.
But
Wow.
she ended up going through chemo and radiation, and I think
Right.
that's kind of what kind of made her kind of go a little
Yeah.
quicker. But if she didn't do that, I feel like she'll still be here today because
Mhm.
she was that amazing. So that would be who I
Wow.
would bring.
Wow. Amazing story and amazing answers. Well,
Mhm.
Quay, thank you so much for being such a wonderful, wonderful guest here in the Creative Talk. Um, Feel free to promote your social media accounts or any projects, any releases that you're planning to. The floor is yours.
All right. So for all of you guys that are following me, head over to my Instagram is Vanity Graphics underscore. And I have my cosmetics is Venom Cosmetics. So that's Venom like snake venom, Venom Cosmetics. And if you're looking just for my own personal page and personal inspirations with branding, it's LaQuaila, LaQuailap, as in Paul. And that's my personal page. And my website is www.vanitygraphics.com. And Venom has its website, venomcosmetics.com. But Wednesday again, I announced is Website Wednesday. So if you have a website, if you are unsure, if you are in a position you don't know if you should get a website, if you should do a landing page, if you need an audit of your website, is it functional? Does it really have all the features you need? Whatever you can think of, Wednesdays are my website Wednesdays. I do that from the QUAILA P, that platform on Instagram. So
Mhm.
you can definitely check out my Insta story, send me a DM, send me your website links, and I'll do whatever I can to assist.
Wow, I'm sure when this episode goes live, there's a lot of people who's gonna contact you, and
Come
they're gonna be
on.
flooding. They're gonna be flooding.
But it's important. I decided to do the website Wednesdays because there's so many people that I get as clients, and you have people that design a website, but then it's not something they can utilize.
Right,
What's
right.
the point of spending money on something that's not gonna work for you? So that's
Mm.
why I decided to do that. And then I have people that are starting businesses and don't know, like, you don't really even need a full website. You just need a simple landing page.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's something that I wanted to do to just try to help people out a little bit. So if you are in need, don't hesitate to shoot me a DM.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you so much, Quay.
Thank
Thank
you for
you
having
so
me.
much. Thank you
You've
so
been
much.
awesome, 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 awesome. And I've listened to some of your other podcasts. Very good topics, very good people you've been bringing on. And I look forward to establishing our new relationships. I'll be definitely following and engaging.
Yeah. Woo-hoo. Guys, if you need expertise, help, guidance, website, branding, feel free to contact Quay here. We will post her social media accounts and feel free to send her a DM and keep a connection. She's a wonderful person and I assure you she will help you along the way.
Thank
So,
you.
guys, check us, the Creative Talk podcast in Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We also have a YouTube channel. Feel free to check out the videos and subscribe. Guys, thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful episode. Thank you so much, Quay. You are
Thank
such a
you.
blessing.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys, this is the Creative Talk with me, John Santos, and our wonderful guest, Quay. Stay safe. God bless. Bye.